Hi everyone, today is Wednesday, August 29. I'm just trying some lighting and stuff here, but I just wanted to actually bring something to your attention. I was actually on a bus today, and I saw this Caucasian woman. She had a little baby, and it was a Caucasian baby like herself. And then she had these three kids, and these kids were all Canadian Indigenous children. So I looked at this picture and I said, something's wrong here. Because she had this, her own child sort of coddled close to her, and the child looked, presented in a certain way. Then I looked at the other kids and I said to myself, look at this. This is another example of the Canadian state taking children away from people of color or non-white people. And, my concern for that is, to question why the Canadian state even fucking does that. When I talk about the Canadian state, like in the Canadian, for those of you that don't know, in Canada you have like different levels of government. So, for example, at the province level, they have these practices where they'll just sort of intervene in, different families, and they'll just separate the families from their children. And when I saw this picture, I was like, you know what, something's wrong here, because those three kids, they were actually sitting away from this person while this person had her child coddled onto her chest. And one of the children said to her, was calling her mother. And I looked at this and I said, something is wrong with this picture. And, when the child said that, everybody kind of looked at this Caucasian woman and she put her head down. Now, I'm just saying this to say, I don't know why, first of all, Caucasians, when you do shit like this, like, do you not think about the children? Like, how can you actually allow that child to know about their culture if you don't even connect with the culture? And when I saw this example, I just looked at this and I said, something is wrong. For example, you have many cases of children that are taken away from black women, not because they're bad mothers, but because the state is actually very partial to black women's experiences. And it's not just black women, it's also, for example, Aboriginal women in Canada have had children, and they've had the children taken away from them. Whatever reason, nobody knows. But Caucasian people, when you actually get yourself involved in situations like this, why don't you ask yourselves, first of all, how can I possibly teach this child about culture? Because you know what? Personally, I'm not for that kind of stuff. I would never, ever actually support a position where a child is not integrated with their ethnicity. Because if you look in the social world today, and the economic world, and the material world, people have to be connected to their culture. If they're not connected to culture, they don't have a sense of any type of purpose. And to the Caucasian community that does this, go look at other communities. And do you see, for example, it may exist, but do you see, for example, Punjabi, for example, adopting, Chinese, and you see like Vietnamese adopting like Turkish children. Like, I've never seen that in the Vietnamese community, and I haven't seen that in the Punjabi community. But what I have seen is also may not be representative of what actually exists to an extent. So I'm sharing this to say that, you know what, when you do stuff like that, before you even do that, check your ethics, man, because you know what, it comes across as very fucking arrogant. And from the position of a person who has to deal with that pain, you are contributing to that pain. As a matter of fact, I looked at these kids. Everything that they had was actually consumption based. Terrible food. Didn't even have any type of like natural, clean clothing. But the little baby coddle in the hand, clean, nice clothes. And then those three Indigenous children were just like, I looked at them and I was like, look at this, something's not right here. And this woman, she had her head down. And I thought to myself, you know what, this is fucking wrong. This is fucking wrong. So, why do you do that? Like, I want to know because, quite frankly, I find that I find that really insensitive. There are cases, for example, you have white families who just do the most horrid things to their children, and for example, there's no intervention, and then the child grows up to be fucked up. The Canadian state has to stop doing this because you know what? It's not a nice experience. I mean, how do you actually smile with people when you're constantly reminded that, oh, yeah, look at all the white families. Oh my God, they have their houses and blah blah blah. And look at our families. Oh yeah, I'm fucked up. And there's this one with the fucking, you know, the one that taught the white males how to, you just all these things, right? And that's not how we live our life, actually. So I was just looking at that and I was like, something's wrong there. So to you Caucasians out there that adopt these children from other ethnic groups, explain to us why you do this kind of thing. Because you know what? When I saw those children, I said to myself, you know what? I feel for the mother of those children, maybe even the father, you know? Um, because there was no culture there. It was just consumption. They're eating shit. They're dressed in consumption shit. And the only one that seems to be coddled in, like nice organic cotton and all this kind of stuff, very clean, is her own. Like, I just thought it was very strange. So I just wanted to share that with you. Um, yeah, educate me as well because I'm not getting something here. Thanks.